Bro just started raging at Orbital Entropy. He just started smashing the phone. It was honestly the scariest thing I'd ever seen. It was a non-stop rage, and it terrified me. Welcome back to another Orbital Entropy development log. A lot's happened, a lot's changed. Life has been kind of crazy. You know, I released this update around 2, maybe 3-ish weeks ago, and I haven't talked about it on here. This is possibly the last update for the game. I feel the game is in a really good spot. I just wanted to get this out there, have this be shown off to the world as a game I've created. And I wanted to put it on Android, which I have done, and honestly, I'm satisfied. I'm going to be starting up some more projects, and I'll be sure to keep you in the loop on those. But for now, Orbital Entropy is essentially done, so let's talk about what has changed. Also, I did not break my phone playing Orbital Entropy. I actually slammed it in a car door on vacation. But we got my old phone here, so all is good. So Orbital Entropy has just launched with its version 1.3 update, and so let's talk about some of the gameplay improvements in 1.3. First off, objects and levels now start stationary. This was mainly done for mobile because before what would happen is objects would be moving in the time that you had to find the right angle and launch the planet. But on mobile, it's not as intuitive as using your mouse cursor, and even with a controller, it probably isn't that intuitive either. So this was mainly done for mobile devices, but I feel it's gonna actually improve all the levels for every platform, because it gives you more time to think about and calculate your decision. The hinting system has also changed. You can now press H to show a hint, and the hint time has reduced from 7 seconds to now 5 seconds. I also forgot to tell players in the game that you can press H. It's only in the changelog, but now you guys know it too. I've also added support for game controllers, and I never really mentioned this in the last progress report because I hadn't really looked into it, but you can play Orbital Entropy with game controllers. I would recommend using Xbox or PlayStation controllers. Nintendo controllers don't really seem to work well with Game Maker. If you want to use a Nintendo controller, I would recommend using a piece of software that can convert its input to X input. And I also hear there may be some issues with Steam controllers and Game Maker. But controller support works for Windows, Linux, Android, and HTML depending on your browser. I do hear that browsers like Safari won't allow controller support. So it just opens up more possibilities for how each player may want to play the game. And if you have a controller, I do recommend trying Orbital Entropy on a controller. It's kind of fun. Now let's get into the menu and user experience. Orbital Entropy now has an options menu. It never had this before. The options menu just pretty much consolidates everything that I had from full screen and muting and unmuting sound. You can also adjust your controller settings in here. It's very basic. The game will auto-detect what controller you're using, but say it gets it wrong. Say you just have some sort of generic controller and it is recognized as an Xbox controller. Well, if you want, you could change its button layout to PlayStation or Nintendo or Steam controller. So you can adjust that within there. You can also submit feedback. So if you find a bug in the game, you can submit feedback to me. That'll let me know, hey, there's a bug. And there's also a fix for full screening on HTML. Before, you could only enter full screen, you couldn't exit full screen. I just assumed this is an HTML limitation, but now I have allowed it to where you can exit full screen. Let's move on to level and content updates. In the map editor, levels have a new level format. Instead of level format 1, it's now level format 2. Custom levels can now use the old movement mechanic if you want, and older levels will retain that same movement mechanic. The naming convention for map files has also changed. You can now no longer have spaces in the file name. It'll now just replace it with an underscore. And let's talk about levels in the game. So there was an issue on HTML with level 19. Essentially, when you tried to launch the planet, the screen would go white. You would instantly collect all the coins, but you'd still end up losing the level. I assume this was some very rare bug, and there are still a few little bugs with level 19. That has now been fixed. Now when you launch the planet, the level will actually play out normally. This has been persistent in the game since 1.0, which is kind of bad, but also funny how I never really noticed it. I never really played through all the levels. I know it's so bad to admit I never tested all the levels on HTML, but I didn't. You can actually find older versions of the game. I'll include a link in the description. Someone actually ripped the game when I first released it and put it onto a different website, and I'm not mad or anything. Honestly, I find it kind of flattering, because I'm like, okay, my work is good enough to put on some random website. And yeah, that's where I tested it to find out that the issue still happened in 1.0. So this has been a constant issue from 1.0 to 1.2 of the game. So yeah, that is now fixed. Level 19 is now fixed on HTML. Let's now talk about the technical optimizations of 1.3.
I don't care.
You'll notice if you go onto itch.io that the file size for version 1.3 has significantly been reduced. Before it was around maybe 60 to 70 megabytes for the game. It's because I was using uncompressed audio.
I don't care.
The audio files are now compressed and will be uncompressed when you load the game. And I don't think it's going to have very much impact on the audio quality. Audio quality. To me, the music still sounds crisp and as good as ever. This reduces file size by a ton, and honestly, I don't think many people are going to notice or care about that.
I don't care.
Crashes now generate a report saved to crash.txt when the game crashes, so if you do submit a bug report, you can just include, well, I don't think you can upload files. You can include what crash.txt says, and that will be a lot more helpful when I diagnose what those issues are. So Orbital Entropy 1.3 is out. It's on itch.io, including the Android APK. I was looking into getting this on the Google Play Store, but honestly, I don't really think that's going to be a possibility. I would need 12 testers, and asking 12 people to just randomly give me their email is, well, it's probably not going to rub people the right way. So I had a form asking for an email submission so that I could include you in the testing track on Google Play. But I've ultimately decided to take that form down, and I honestly don't think I'm going to release the game on Google Play. However, it's something I'd like to look into in the future, but for now, the Android APK can be found on itch.io, and that'll of course be linked down in the description. You can play every version of the game on itch.io. So, Orbital Entropy has really been a fun project to work on. I'm very impressed with, at least myself. I feel it's sort of my first proper game release, and I'm really happy about it. But I do want to move on. I want to move on past Orbital Entropy and start working on other projects. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I will always keep you guys in the loop. So stay tuned for that, and I guess just overall, I'd like to thank every one of you who have watched any of these videos, even if you've just watched one, or and even if you haven't played the game at all. It's just very fun to develop something like this, and I want to continue developing games. I want to continue making games. And like I said, I want to move past Orbital Entropy and start some new projects, and honestly, that's kind of scary, kind of exciting, but honestly, just thank you all. Thank you for watching this video. You can go play Orbital Entropy down in the description. Consider subscribing, liking the video, or leaving a comment, and I guess I'll see you all next time. Thank you guys. Have a good one.